Wolf and the Raccoon, a modern fable. In a small, divided town on the edge of a sprawling forest, there lived two very different creatures. The wolf, a grizzled old hunter, prided himself on his independence and traditional values. He believed strength and self-reliance were the only paths to survival. The raccoon, on the other hand, was a scrappy young scavenger who preached community and progress. She believed in sharing resources and challenging the status quo. They often crossed paths near the edge of the forest, each eyeing the other with disdain. "You're just a leech," the wolf growled one evening, "always taking what others earn. And you're stuck in the past," the raccoon shot back, "clinging to your old ways while the world moves on." One harsh winter night, however, both found themselves in a dire situation. A massive snowstorm had blanketed the town, cutting off access to food. The wolf's hunting grounds were frozen, and the raccoon's usual scavenging spots were buried under snow. Hunger gnawed at them both. As they searched for sustenance, they stumbled upon an abandoned barn. Inside was a locked pantry stocked with food, a treasure trove for any creature brave enough to open it. The wolf snarled, "Will break it down myself. I don't need help from anyone, especially not you." The raccoon smirked. "Go ahead, waste your strength. That door's reinforced genius. But I know how to pick the lock." "Fine," the wolf snapped. "But if you want my protection while you work, we do this my way. No sneaky tricks." Reluctantly, they struck a deal. The raccoon climbed onto the wolf's back to reach the lock, her nimble paws working quickly. Meanwhile, the wolf stood guard, his sharp eyes and imposing presence keeping potential threats at bay. Within minutes, the lock clicked open. Inside, they found enough food to last through the storm. For the first time, they shared a meal, eating in uneasy silence. Eventually, the raccoon broke the tension. "You know, for all your tough talk, you wouldn't have gotten in without me. And for all your cleverness," the wolf replied, "you needed me to keep you safe. Maybe neither of us has all the answers." The storm raged outside, but inside the barn, a fragile understanding was born. Moral: in times of hardship, even the most divided can find common ground. Strength and cleverness are most powerful when they work together. The wolf, the raccoon, and the parrot's tale. The forest, once harmonious, had become a place of tension. The wolf, a staunch defender of tradition, roamed the woods growling about individual freedom and self-reliance. The raccoon, a passionate advocate of collective action, scurried about, organizing groups of animals to share resources and work together. Their arguments echoed through the trees, dividing the creatures into factions. One day, their quarrel grew louder than ever. "You want to take what I've worked for and hand it out like scraps," snarled the wolf. "And you'd let others starve so you can hoard what you think is yours," snapped the raccoon. Their shouting drew the attention of an old storyteller who lived in a small cabin at the edge of the forest. This human was a quiet observer of the world, and his companion, a wise old parrot, had overheard many stories of division and reconciliation. The parrot flew to a low branch between the wolf and the raccoon, his feathers shimmering in the sunlight. "Enough," he squawked. "Your anger blinds you both. Perhaps you need to hear a story." The wolf and the raccoon paused, their curiosity piqued despite their hostility. The parrot began. "Once there was a river that ran through a great valley, dividing it into two lands. On one side lived a proud eagle who soared high, valuing freedom and strength. On the other lived a beaver who built dams and shared her work with her kin. Both believed their way was best. The eagle thought the beaver foolish for depending on others, while the beaver saw the eagle as selfish and arrogant. But one summer, the river dried up. Without the water, the eagle couldn't fish, and the beaver couldn't build. They argued over whose fault it was, each blaming the other for the catastrophe. Then, a small frog, tired of the bickering, spoke up. "Why don't you work together? If the eagle fetches water from the distant lake, and the beaver digs channels to guide it back here, you can restore the river." At first, they resisted, but desperation made them try. The eagle used her strength to carry water, and the beaver's skill ensured it flowed to the valley. Together, they brought life back to the land. When the river returned, They realized that neither strength nor cooperation alone could have saved them. It was the balance of both. The parrot fixed his gaze on the wolf and the raccoon. You, too, are like the eagle and the beaver. The wolf's strength and independence are admirable, but without the raccoon's collaboration and care for others, the forest would falter. And raccoon, your vision for unity is noble, but without the wolf's vigilance, your efforts would crumble under chaos. The wolf and the raccoon exchanged glances, their hostility softening. Perhaps we've both been too quick to judge, the wolf said gruffly, and too stubborn to see the value in each other, the raccoon admitted. From that day on, the wolf and the raccoon worked to bridge their differences, seeking a balance between strength and community. Moral: true progress comes from finding harmony between opposing views, where each contributes its strengths for the good of all.